We are electric man. We've got electric hands. So come stand beside us and realize that the thing we must do is inspire. We're coming for you.
All right, my dudes, we are live. Welcome, welcome. You just saw the official trailer for the Celebration of Science and Reason tour. I hope you guys come out and support this. We need some scientific inspiration out there. Scientific inspiration is at a major low. I hear people going around, fuck science. A lot of people confuse, like, okay, if they don't like some messaging and the way that certain science is being communicated from a certain field or a certain group of scientists, they go, yeah, fuck science. It's not science. Science is the mechanism. Science is the method. Get specific with your challenges. Fuck science is probably the most retarded thing I've ever heard. There's very few things more retarded than that. I'm sorry to say. Oh my God, he used the hard R word. Yeah, I reserve it for times like this. What up, Harley? What up, Kaylee? Welcome, guys. Drop your questions. Ask me anything. It can be literally anything. No question is off limits here. Yeah, if you guys are wondering who all of these dudes are in these superhero outfits, these were created by Daria Klaskanova. Let me try to pronounce her last name properly. Volosnikova. Daria Volosnikova. Brilliant. Oh, and I just realized I should probably, if I move that out. Oh, is it gonna do that to me? Oh, it is. So I'm gonna change this to capture. I know I can do this. No, I want this to capture that. Perfect. I fixed it. Daria Volosnikova, brilliant artist from Canada, right here in Vancouver. Love her work. Oh, yeah, let's go back here so you can see. So this is John J. Parker. Well, you guys can't. Right beside me, I'm the guy in the red. Then we got John J. Parker. We got Mace Starwalk and Andy R. These are all guys who are Pangburn broadcasters, meaning they have their own Pangburn segment, their own Pangburn show. We have one more to add here, Zemo. And that's being created right now. But if you want to have your own segment at Pangburn, if you have a show you want to pitch to me, join us on Discord and send me a DM and share with me your idea. Mace's segment, which is our Friday segment, is he's a British guy, so it's convince me otherwise. So he's got this convince me otherwise segment, which is like a take on Steven Crowder's Change My Mind, which has been great. And John just picks some political or philosophical topics. Andy is my co-host on Tuesdays and Thursdays, although Andy is on a special mission right now, superhero of the superhero variety. He likely won't be with me for the next few episodes. But I'm going to be inviting different members from the Discord server to join me in these chats. You know what? Even when I don't invite them, they show up anyway, which is fine. I love them all. Almost all of them. No, I love all of them. How are you guys? How are you guys doing? Any of you from Canada? Any of you living in Ottawa? Yeah, so I'm going to be doing some work today. What do I have? I have a couple radio pitch meetings where radio stations create pitches and they give them to me. Oh, actually, I'll play you guys this audio. This is the kind of stuff I get from radio stations. Where is that? Yeah, I'll play you guys this ad that they pitched to me, which was pretty cool. Here we go.
With so many places to get news and facts these days, it's difficult to know what is good information and what is not. Join in on a celebration of science and reason, a fireside chat with physicist Lawrence Krauss and Sabine Hassenfelder, hosted by Arvin Ash. It's a discussion that will inspire you to seek out and find more credible information and refine your own ability to carve a path through fact and fiction. A celebration of science and reason, April 14th at the Queen E Theater. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
Now that's pretty pimp. It's hard for me not to get excited when a radio station comes up with a wicked ad like that. Like, I haven't even purchased anything from them yet, and they produced that. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah. So let me go through some of these questions. But again, yeah, send me a DM on Discord. Let me drop a Discord link for you guys to make sure you have it. And I know a lot of you are working at this moment at your jobs. So if you do stop by, just drop me a question and I'll get to it, and you can come back and watch this stream at a later date. Make sure you hit the like button, my dudes. Drop a like. Really helps out the health of the stream. If you feel so inclined, you can send a super chat, and I'll always deal with super chats first. Super chats are donations you can make that have a comment or a question attached to them. And yeah, they just go towards supporting Pangburn and what we do. What are we doing at Pangburn? Well, one of the big things that we do is we produce live intellectual discussions that hope to give people examples of how to engage in good faith, and sometimes with people that you happen to disagree with, and in a helpful way. So we give those examples, and we produce these live discussions, and then we eventually release them for free on YouTube, so that people who can't afford to go out to see things like this, see live discussions, they'll still get access. Like, you know, trying to break down the economic barrier there. Yeah, that's cool. Daniel C., you said, why isn't Hillary Clinton not in prison? You got a double negative there. Why isn't Hillary Clinton? I think you mean why is Hillary Clinton not in prison? What do you think, Daniel? What do you think she should be in prison for? Who murdered Bob Saget? Are you sure Bob Saget was murdered? Let's see. So the authorities are saying Bob Saget, his injuries were due to an accidental fall, and this sucks. Like I found out about Bob Saget. I'm a huge Bob Saget fan. Like there was so much going on in Canada with these trucker protests that this story kind of got buried, and I was shocked. Like, we lost Norm Macdonald. Hey, so this guy, I saw him walking into the grocery store. A grocery store where you get the groceries, you see? And so I'm going to really miss hearing from new stuff from Norm Macdonald. But then we lose Bob Saget. This is terrible. But authorities are saying that he had an accidental fall, and unfortunately he succumbed to his injuries. And there's a lot of, conspiracy theories going around that he was murdered, and things like this. A doctor, I think maybe a doctor might have weighed in and said that it looks like skull fractures from like a blunt force object. But that's all just like, that's just kind of noise. The actual answer seems to be that he had a fall and, he died. This isn't as rare as people think. Sometimes people fall and get a really bad head injury and they think that like, oh, okay, I'll just, I'll be able to sleep this off. Sheriff John Mina told reporters that Saget's injuries appeared to have been caused by a fall where he struck the back of his head on a flat surface, such as a bathroom floor. He somehow got into bed, but succumbed to brain bleed. His family released a statement agreeing with the sheriff and begging public forbearance. Not that it stopped anybody, according to Fox News. The growing belief that Saget's injuries are from something more than a fall had experts weighing in on various media outlets. Doctors compared the severity of the comedian's skull fracture to an auto accident victim's. This is significant trauma, said Dr. Gavin Britz, the chair in neurosurgery at the Houston Methodist Neurological Institute, told the New York Times, "This is something I find with someone with a baseball." Oh, this is really, this is, you gotta like take some time to think about when you're speaking in public, when you're a public figure, you do have to understand that when you say things like, quote, "This is something I find with someone with a baseball bat to the head or who has fallen from 20 to 30 feet. Yes, the comparison to what you may see with a baseball bat in the head, you need to clarify that, although there's no evidence that a baseball bat was used, because people are fucking dumb. Like, they will read that and be like, well, a doctor saying baseball bat to the head. Yeah, it's got to be very careful. Like, and this is my critique of Jordan Peterson lately. Like, a lot of the things he is, a lot of the things he's been saying lately about vaccines and this trucker protest have just been insane. I've been posting about them and screenshotting, but if you go to Jordan Peterson's Twitter, if you're a scientific minded person like me and you're looking at some of the stuff that are coming from his Twitter, I'm like, did some like angry teenager get a hold of Jordan Peterson's Twitter account and start tweeting like some anti-scientific bull crap? So go look for yourself and tell me what you think. I've reposted in the community tab on this channel a couple of screenshots. I haven't really got to seeing the comments or anything yet, but also on Facebook. But yeah, make sure you guys drop a like, say hello, drop me any questions you may have. So yeah, it looks like Bob Saget wasn't murdered, my dude. And I also let's see if Daniel did you say why you think Hillary Clinton should be in prison? Unless you actually meant why isn't Hillary Clinton not in prison? Those two cancel each other out. Yeah, just maybe clarify if you're still here. Drop a like. Let's get this stream rolling. Drop your comment. I'm going to be doing some work after I get through your guys' initial questions here. But I will be hanging out with you for some time today. Kaylee Fisher says, topic, why do people bother with questions of reality or simulation or free will, yes or no, when we all have to proceed and will proceed as if we have free will, and this is objective reality, question mark. Well, if you're like me, you want to believe as many true things and as few false things as possible, right? So if we have if we catch something like a presupposition we've adopted that we haven't demonstrated yet, like this idea that we have free will, like, you know, the causal chain of events that started with the Big Bang in our closed system, all of those events leading up to me moving my hand like this, the free will argument is that there is something within my mind that we call free will that can disrupt that causal chain of events. So disrupt determinism and change the course. You know, and that's never been demonstrated, of course. It may one day be demonstrated. Maybe there is something freaky about minds that can do this, right? But the more we look into, like, for instance, neuroscience, thoughts are happening to us. We're not dictating our own thoughts. That used to be like common knowledge, right? It's like, oh yeah, you know, your thoughts and decision making, like you can decide to do one thing or the other. It's like, okay, well, show me where that happens in the brain. Oh, the decisions are happening to us. We don't get to change the course of decision making. So, you know, it's simply a pursuit in trying to eliminate, you know, some ignorance or point to a presupposition we may have made that we don't need to be making. And as far as like, but you're right. Like in a practical sense, we must act as though we do have free will and set up our social systems that way. Like, what are we going to do? Abolish prisons? Allow child rapists to run free? No. We're going to act as though they could have made a different choice. But like Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage and we are but players, or we're merely players. So, yeah. Enjoy the cinema that plays out before you. Bask in the illusion of free will. Bask in the role that you are set to play, and make it a morally checked, pleasurable experience. Yeah. Make sure you guys drop that like. Any questions are welcome here. Philosophical, scientific, life, art, anything. Oh, and then, yeah, you're talking about reality versus simulation. Yeah, there are some physicists and philosophers that think we're most likely in a simulation. And again, like for us, while we're interacting with this, it seems as though it doesn't matter much from a practical sense, whether this is a simulation or not. You know, but again, we don't have to take an epistemological stance against this proposition. We don't have to claim that we know we are not in a simulation or that we know we are in a simulation, we can be agnostic to that and say, or you can make a claim like, I know I'm not in a simulation as much as I know, whales live in the ocean. You can, depending on your epistemological standard of truth. By the way, your epistemological standard of truth is something you should really wrestle with. Get that sorted out so that you can start understanding when you actually do feel as though you know things. Because the more I talk to different philosophers around the world, different thinkers, everyone seems to be walking around with a slightly different epistemological standard of truth, which is interesting because this does play a role in science as well, because we want to get the right knowledge into our science textbooks, right? And that would mean, and I'm not saying that like theories are things that like claims of knowing something, certainly from a certainty perspective, but it's important. It's like when do you know you love someone, and what are you basing that on? How much of your epistemological standard of truth must be satisfied from a certainty perspective? Or do you just allow your passion to dictate what you know in those circumstances? So yeah, that's something I challenge you to reflect on, do some philosophical introspection on what your epistemological standard of truth is. The way I describe mine in a colloquial setting is almost certain. That's my epistemological standard of truth. So from an almost certain perspective, I will claim I know there are no gods as much as I know there are no leprechauns. Is it possible there are gods or leprechauns? Yeah, sure. But my epistemological standard of truth allows for the possibility that the knowledge is wrong, that the truth element of the knowledge is wrong. And that's okay. Because another thing that may be unpopular amongst many philosophers is that I don't think we can be certain about anything, including the logical absolutes. It's possible that our ape perceptors just don't allow us to see the flaws in logic, right? Even if we come to what we think are perfect tautologies, I think therefore I am, used to be touted as this perfect tautology. It's possible that these things are incorrect. We must leave open the possibility that 1 + 1 = 2 might possibly be incorrect. I'm almost certain it's not. I'm almost certain that there are no married bachelors. I'm almost certain of that. And I will claim it as knowledge. I know that there are no married bachelors. But it's possible that there are. And look, this doesn't change like how I view science or anything like that. The only difference between me and someone who might say I'm fine claiming certainty and being wrong about it, wrong about my certainty, I just say you don't need to claim the certainty. You can just say, I'm almost certain about that thing and continue on. It's kind of adopting a more scientific approach to the epistemological standard of truth, which I think is an upgrade. Let's. I hope that answers your question, Kaylee, of how I feel about that. There's some Bob Saget Illuminati, definitely. The Harley Seal Binder podcast says, how did you secure you said Patterson-Harris debate? I think you mean Peterson, of course. Peterson-Harris debate to be on your platform. Well, I was the creator and producer of that discussion series. But please do drop a like, guys, if you're tuning in. It really helps the health of the stream out. And drop your question. You can ask me a question about. I'm a philosopher. You can ask me a question about philosophy, but you can also ask me a question about science, art, life. I will answer anything. Nothing is off the table. Now let's go to. Okay, yeah, I'll finish answering your question. Well, I had heard the Sam Harris, Jordan Peterson podcasts that they attempted. There was 2 of them, and I was not satisfied. I thought there was a lot more that could be discovered in a conversation between these 2 people, and I know, and one thing I really, really like about Jordan Peterson's view of gods or God, than the, as opposed to the traditional standards, is that Jordan Peterson has attempted to outlaw any anti-scientific belief into his belief system. Such as Earth being 6,000 years old, talking snakes, things like this, resurrections, which I'm not. It's hard to get a clear answer out of Jordan whether he believes Jesus Christ was resurrected or not. But I mean I think it and maybe he's still figuring that out, which is totally within his right. But I remember during the conversation that I produced between Matt Dillahunty and Jordan Peterson, an audience member, the first question from the audience was, Jordan, if you if all human beings all of a sudden ceased to exist in a snap, would God still exist? And Peterson thought, and I suggest you guys go and check this out. The video, of course, exists on this channel. This is during the Q&A session at the end, but Jordan had a real hard time answering that question. He was stumbling a bit, and so it was like, it's so hypothetical. It's like, and he was, it was kind of a ideological catastrophe for him. It seemed like in that moment, and I think his answer in the end was, I'm not really sure I can answer that question. So it would be interesting to hear him answer that question again. I'll probably get him on the podcast sometime soon, and I think I'll ask him that question and bring up that moment, because that was after that whole discussion. Funnily enough, it might be one of my, might be my favorite moment. But that was a firecracker discussion, and it was electric to be there for that one. But yeah, I wasn't satisfied with what I heard between Sam and Jordan. I think they needed. It seemed as though they needed a referee in between them. Even though I thought that maybe after they had time, because initially I was like, maybe they don't need a moderator for this. But when they and I thought that maybe if they had more time to kind of reflect on how those conversations went, they might get over these hurdles of truth, and what is true. And again, this is talking about epistemological standards of truth and how they come into conflict, and this idea of metaphorical truth versus maybe phenomenological truth, like that tree is out there. So yeah, this is a metaphorical truth meaning that it's true that I love my mother. It's not objectively true. It's metaphysically true, right? So the things do get complicated if people are talking past each other about these different kinds of truth. And some people will be like, well, there's only one kind of truth. So from like an objective reality perspective, yes, you're correct. But from a phenomenological perspective, your experience, you can make claims about like, did the stream freeze on you guys? Oh, okay, we're good. You can make claims like, from a phenomenological perspective, it's true that I felt like I got screwed over when this girl dumped me, It's like, that's the way I felt. That's where phenomenology comes in. And for those of you who haven't looked into the study of phenomenology, I suggest looking into it. It's probably my favorite field of philosophical inquiry. But then, I thought that these discussions, or starting off with one discussion between Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris, would be something absolutely necessary, regardless of whether we put a moderator or not on stage with them. And we first advertised the event with no moderator, and then it was around that time that Jordan Peterson exploded in popularity, just blew up, just absolutely blew up. And it's funny, his fee, because then right after that happened, of course, like the event was selling really well, like before that even happened, and then all of a sudden, boom, we sell out night one, and I'm like, I call the venue up right away. I was like, we're gonna need a night two for this. What do we got? And then I checked in with Jordan and Sam, and they were like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. And so I brought that to them. I got the venue set up for another date, and rock and roll. We booked the other date, the next date, and of course by that time, Jordan Peterson's high price agents had gotten a hold of him now. So I wasn't dealing with like Jordan Peterson and Michaela and some family members and maybe a speaker bureau directly. Now the music agents had moved in, right? And so yeah, the difference of Jordan's fee for the first event of that series versus the second event, holy schmoly. But rightfully so. I mean, I want these, I think these talents, especially the ones that are really furthering conversation, I really think that they should, they should get what's due to them within reason, right? We don't want to get to a point where, you're forcing your audience to pay like an unaffordable amount of money to be able to come and hear you speak, right? That's something I'm big on and I try to control. Unfortunately, the agents, when these agents come in that don't really know what's going on in the war of ideas and things like that, they just come in with like, no, we want to maximize however much we can squeeze out of these speakers' audiences. And I'm just like, fuck you, you cunt. Like, this isn't going to happen. Like, I do everything I can to, massage that down. Because really when you guys see the ticket prices for events, all of that, essentially, almost all of that is going into the pockets of the talent of the speakers. And then the little bit left over is going to the venue and marketing and all that stuff. And then in a miracle scenario, if there's a couple pennies left for Pangburn to go out and, upgrade a piece of equipment and maybe buy some canned food, then we're rocking. But also one thing that helps is, from my company's perspective, is being able to put these videos on a monetized channel like YouTube and build a revenue stream that can continue on hopefully forever. So yeah, and then of course after that the second event sells out, and at in Vancouver. So we did too. And then I start thinking, I'm like, you know what? We got to bring this overseas. We got to like this. There's so much to be discussed, and this is such an important topic. This idea of gods and where they fit in now, and we got these two guys who, who have what they believe are strong, reasonable justifications. They've written a lot of work about this for their positions, and there could have been like, probably you could probably do a whole world tour with these two guys speaking with each other. But anyways, I thought we got to do something big overseas, and I looked into Dublin. One of the reasons why I looked into Dublin was because Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life was selling hot there. It was selling really hot. And so that's why a lot of people are like, why Dublin? Why did you pick Dublin? That was one of the reasons. I would say for when we were in Vancouver, I would say it was probably 70% Sam Harris fans in the audience, maybe 30% Jordan Peterson fans. When we got over to Dublin, which I chose 3 Arena. Everyone thought I was fucking insane by the way. I chose 3 Arena, which just had hosted like Justin Bieber and like these massive, massive pop stars. And I was like, 3 Arena. And I was talking to, my investors at that time about this. And of course they're like, oh, yes, he is insane. Yeah. Call the police. And I pushed, and I was able to get these deals done with Sam Harris's team. Sam Harris at that point, him and I had a very like handshake, buddy way of doing business. Of course, him and I have publicly broken up since then, but, Jordan Peterson, there was also here's a weird thing. Sam had been represented by this one agent for some deals, and he was now the agent for Jordan. So there was this strange thing where I had to balance this negotiation between this one dude who was kind of behind the scenes talking to both of them at the same time, which made it damn near impossible almost to do this deal. But eventually it was just like, oh, okay, we're going to spend like a ridiculous sum of money on producing these events, and Pangburn was going to make nothing, but I just said, we got to get this done. And, we will have the video after, right, of course, to release. So that was how I justified it. But I really thought we owed it to everyone to get over to the other side of the world and do some massive presentations of this discussion. So, and then I was like, okay, there was Dublin. And then, of course, in the back of my mind, I had produced over in London before. I brought Richard Dawkins, Matt Dillahunty, and Sam Harris over there once before. And we sold out what is it called? Not the Olympia. I have the Olympia on my mind because we're doing a show in Montreal. It is the Eventum Apollo. The Eventum Apollo. And we sold that out, which is, about 3,500 seats, which was a brilliant event conversation. But I was thinking, yeah, we could go to the Eventum Apollo. Looking at venues in London. And, this was I overblew it here. I thought too big. I was, well, obviously, if I would have sold out the O2 Arena in London with Sam Harris and Jordan, then of course, I'm a genius. But in this case, we sold well in London, but we sold more tickets in Dublin. So we were 9,500 seats sold out in Dublin, or 8,500. I think it was 8,500 and 9,500. But yeah, Dublin was like a fucking rock show, man. Holy shit. When I walked out on stage and introduced those guys, I was like, yeah, this is like I don't know. It was just like just electricity running on fumes at that point. I did have, it was really, for a small company out of Canada that had only been operating for a couple of years, it was a massive undertaking. Like, even for Live Nation, like, it's a big undertaking, an event of that size. So yeah, but that was huge. And then yeah, and I also booked the O2 Arena in London, which is like the big venue, right? Which was extraordinary to be there. I was excited for it. We did get a bit screwed over by the ticketing agency there, where they were blocking off premium seats, and they weren't being sold, but we were told that they were sold, which we could have released some of these premium seats that would have sold had they been available, but they were blocked off for some reason. And unfortunately, my team at the time, like, there wasn't. We weren't on it, and we weren't on it as much as we could have been. And by the way, if you go to thewarofideas.org, you can see kind of the darker side of what was going on with my business at that time, with my staff who were there. So if you go to warofideas.org, you'll scroll down and you'll see kind of my the story or my take of why Sam Harris and I parted ways. And you'll also see like what was going on with my staff at the time. A very stressful time. Jesus Christ. Gotta turn that off. But yeah, the O2 Arena, it scraped by. We lost some money on it. Definitely. But it scraped by. We made it happen. And I was happy that we did that many events for Jordan and Sam. And we almost came back and did one in New York City. I wanted to bring it to what's it called? Not the Red Room. It's a I forget the one, but there was a 10,000 seat venue I was looking at in New York, and I was like, I really think we could sell this out in New York. But now I'd have to check my notes. If I recall correctly, Jordan was done and didn't want to do any more. We almost got there, but I think what it was is it might have been a money thing where I had looked at how the O2 Arena was selling, and I said, like, okay, I think we're getting a little bit ridiculous on the fees here, and and I think the agent told me to fuck off and that it was my problem, and who knows. But yeah, this isn't an easy business. There's a lot of people you need to appease, and when people start getting to a certain level and you're not kind of negotiating a fee with them directly, you start negotiating with agents. Yes, sometimes these fees can get out of control. But yeah, that was. These were just to summarize answering your question there, Harley. These were you asked how did you secure the Peterson Harris debate to be on your platform? Hard work. Hard work and vision. Kaylee Fisher says, I'm looking forward to the moment when everyone will look into another's eyes and realize that they are looking at themselves from across the universe. Yeah, I mean, to kind of like jump onto that, Kaylee, like, yeah, we need to continue to always have moral consideration for each other. And part of that is, it comes from, seeing ourselves in other people and trying to understand their experience. Even though we won't fully be able to understand other individuals' experiences, but we can try. And, one of the ways we can express ourselves to help other people understand is through artistic inspiration. And that's something I promote a lot in my own philosophy. Daniel C. says, Hillary Clinton spied on Donald Trump with the help of the FBI. Has that been demonstrated? Let's see. Let's see what we can find here. Why won't that window open? All right. Yeah. So, by the way, Destiny, Twitch streamer, YouTube streamer Destiny will be joining me. He just confirmed that he will be joining me this Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. It was supposed to be this last Friday, but he had to tap out for personal reasons. So, let's see. Hillary. Let's see. Okay, Trump's latest claim, this is from Forbes. Let's see what Forbes has to say. Trump's latest claim that Clinton spied on his campaign explained. Former President Donald Trump and his supporters have been enthralled for the past week over claims that Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign spied on Trump, a distorted narrative spreading through right-wing media and arising from a court filing made Friday. Here are the facts of what happened. The account of Clinton's alleged quote, spying began with a Friday court filing from Justice Department Special Counsel John Durham, who was appointed by Trump administration Attorney General William Barr to investigate the origins of an FBI probe that searched for connections between Trump's 2016 campaign and Russia. The filing contains a new accusation that internet traffic was accessed and exploited at two of Trump's buildings, and at the quote, the executive office of the President of the United States, and then used to raise questions about Trump's alleged contacts with a Russian bank in the lead up to the 2016 election. The filing focuses on a former federal prosecutor and Democratic National Committee attorney named Michael Sussman, who flagged the alleged contacts between the bank and the Trump Organization to the FBI in 2016. Sussman has been accused of lying to the FBI for saying he was providing the information as a good citizen and not as a lawyer working on behalf of the Clinton campaign. Trump quickly pounced on that accusation as evidence of a serious crime committed against him, saying in a statement Saturday, "In a stronger period of time in our country, this crime would have been punishable by death." While right-wing media figures, including the Fox News, suggest that Clinton's campaign directly oversaw a spying effort, Durham's court filing on Friday does not actually implicate Clinton or accuse her campaign of spying. The case against Sussman will proceed, likely with more information about his alleged role in the 2016 election, overcoming months in federal district court in Washington, D.C. Hillary Clinton tweeted out, "Trump and Fox are desperately spinning up a fake scandal to distract from his real ones." So Hillary Clinton doesn't know why Trump is doing this. She shouldn't engage in mind reading, but this is about the depth of Hillary Clinton's ability to think or communicate. The more his misdeeds are exposed, the more they lie. For those interested in reality, here's a good debunking of their latest nonsense. And by the way, that's not to say that Trump's claims are founded at all. Okay, so it looks like what you're saying here, Hillary Clinton spied on Donald Trump. I think you should keep reading, Daniel. There's a lot more information. You're making a knowledge claim here that I doubt you would be able to substantiate, and because we haven't seen these things roll out yet. You should just report on the facts of what is going on. Hillary Clinton's attorney or whoever this was, without saying they were acting on behalf of the Clinton campaign, went to the FBI, as opposed to them being a citizen. This is when you say things like this, that make these knowledge claims with like when we haven't really seen the evidence and things play out yet. That's sus, as the kids say, my brother. Why was that gelato shop doxxed, says Selkie Seal. Gelato shop. Well, let's see what the internet tells us. Gelato shop doxxed. We have been called terrorists. Tearful Ottawa gelato shop owner, whose name was released in Give Send Go data hack, describes being hounded with death threats. Okay, people should not be sending death threats. I hope she doesn't close her shop. Yeah, you know what, people, like, it's like some people were donating to this campaign because they agreed with the message, right? And they didn't, even if their funds were, and this is, we're going to have to see all the court hearings after this because there's going to be a lot of them, but everyone who donated to these funds didn't necessarily know that some of their funds might be used for unlawful activity, right? Some people might have done this in good faith, thinking that they were allowed to do this, based on their understanding of the law of the land. So stop attacking people. Give them moral consideration. I don't want to see people closing their businesses because people are threatening them and calling them Nazis or whatever the hell's going on here. That's immoral behavior. Immoral. You should seek to maximize well-being for yourself and those around you. If you're going to be interacting with this person, they're included as those people around you. How about sending them, if you disagree and if you don't think they should have donated to this cause, tell them why you disagree. Send them a message about that. But also, when you see someone down like this, try to pick them back up and say, I hope you continue running your gelato shop and that it's successful for you and yours. Why do people have to be so disgusting? And Selkie Seal, you say, why was that gelato shop doxxed? I would have to look at the reasoning as to why the names were released. I don't know. And again, the gelato shop, here's another scenario. The gelato shop may have maybe there's some information there that the gelato shop made a donation, or the person who owns it made a donation and said, I hope you fuck those cops up, or something like that. There could be something like that behind this, but we need more information, right? Maybe you have more information, but I'm just thinking based on, what seems to be the general case here. Breaks down over threats. Okay. We see that this is a big Fox News thing. Owner breaks down crying. Auto gelato shop owner among 92,000 doxxed. Gelato shop owners support truckers get doxxed. Lunatics threatening them. Yeah. So again, with things like this, you guys, before you start forming your beliefs or your of what you think your epistemological positions on these things, it's okay to wait for more information, right? When someone says, "Why were they docked?" We want to know. We want to know more here. Jeff D'Amato says, Travis, you frequently agree with the old concept that you can't get an ought from an is. Correct. If there's no free will, then there is no ought. Everything just is. How can you say there is no free will? Good question. And that we ought to behave as if there was. The simple answer is for the pleasure of doing so. This is like asking, why should we even bother pursuing things that we enjoy, right? Well, simply for the pleasure of doing so. This is included in if there's no free will, which there very well might not be, right? It seems the evidence of reality seems to point towards that we do not have free will, because we haven't been able to locate anything in neuroscience that shows us like, oh, and then this is where free will comes in and trumps the deterministic causal chain of events. You say if there's no free will, then there is no ought. That's incorrect. Ought, you just have to say that ought exists in the illusion of free will. So there still is ought, but the ought prescriptions come through that illusion. Again, from a deterministic perspective, this is all just a cinema playing out before us, right? But we have this feeling as though we're in control, which is maybe necessary for minds to not like self-implode. So I hope that answered your question. Selkie Seal says it was uncomfortable to watch how patient Stephen Fry was with a Peterson, like volatile. I don't know what you're saying. I don't think I watched that conversation. Harley's Sealbinder podcast says, I appreciate your response. One day I will do an interview with you. You are an inspiration. Thank you, Harley. Appreciate it. Can you ever bury the hatchet with Sam Harris? I mean, I've stated publicly, and I've sent him an email. This was quite a while back, maybe a couple of years, that I would be happy to bury the hatchet with him publicly or privately, however he would want to do it. I'm happy to have a live conversation with him about business ethics and where we may disagree on decisions he made and things he promoted, on social media, his tactics of using his audience to try and paint me as an evil person. Like, these are some things I would have to work out with Sam Harris before, I would ever consider working with him again. And I'm sure he has his complaints about me. But yeah, my door is always open. Sam Harris gets my moral consideration. I want to maximize well-being for myself and those around me. And when I'm interacting with Sam Harris, he's included in that umbrella. So, yeah, I mean, Sam and I had, I think it's 12, maybe 13 successful events together. And then a conference project that we did together that just like completely went south because he ran away from his commitment to the project, which he really was, the powerhouse behind. He had full control over in a lot of senses. But if you want to read the details of that, you can go to thewarofideas.org and find my article about Pangburn philosophy and Sam Harris. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Let me. I'm going to check in with my email here. My mom was trying to video chat with me. Guys, if you can get up to Canada, Vancouver, Calgary, or Montreal, please do come and join us for a celebration of science and reason. I'm going to give you guys the ticket link in the comment section. You can also go to pang-burn.com/tickets if you're just listening to this. Check out this tour we are promoting right now. It features Lawrence Krauss, Sabine Hossenfelder as kind of the main figures of this tour. And then they are being joined by Arvin Ash, who's a very famous YouTuber in the science communication realm, physics communication. He will join them for the Vancouver event, It's going to be cool. I'm going to be downtown Vancouver every weekend leading up to the event, promoting. I'll be in a bunch of different locations, but I'll make sure to turn on my live stream. I'm going to purchase a couple of those rechargeable batteries, those portable recharge stations, so that I can keep my phone running. I guess I could just rent a generator and just like fire that thing up. Science and reason. But yeah, I'm going to do... Okay. Yeah, I want to play that radio ad for you guys one more time. It's very, very cool ad that was sent to me by... what's their names? 1027 The Peak from Pattison Media in Vancouver. Huge shout out to them. They also run 93.7 Junior Country. But this is the audio radio ad they put together for the tour. And we're just negotiating a radio deal right now to help us sell these tickets.
With so many places to get news and facts these days, it's difficult to know what is good information and what is not. Join in on a celebration of science and reason, a fireside chat with physicists Lawrence Krauss and Sabine Hassenfelder, hosted by Arvin Ash. It's a discussion that will inspire you to seek out and find more credible information and refine your own ability to carve a path through fact and fiction. A celebration of science and reason, April 14th at the Queen E Theater. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
It's pretty pimp. Major pimpage. Yeah, cool. Well, you guys asked some really good questions. There was some juicy stuff there. I'm gonna get back to work here, and yeah, it's a beautiful day here in Vancouver. The sun is blaring. It's feeling like summer already, and it's just February 21st. Right on. Thank you guys so much for the questions. Carly Fisher, if you are still in the chat here, you have won a copy of Enlightenment Now by Steven Pinker. In order to redeem your hard copy of that book, please join our Discord server and send me a DM. Hey, Tim, I bet it is warm in Houston. Yeah, please send me a DM on Discord, and I'm going to give you guys the link so that you guys can join us on Discord. It's a voice chat software where we have our daily voice chat meetups. You get to talk to people around the world about philosophy, art, science, life, whatever. So yeah, do join us there. Thank you guys for the likes. I'm going to head off now and do some work. And congratulations to Kaylee Fisher. Make sure you come and send me a DM on Discord, and I'll make sure I ship a copy. Oh. That's your copy right there. Steven Pinker's Enlightenment Now. Please send me a DM, and I will get the copy to you. This is a brilliant book. The case for reason, science, humanism, and progress. So I hope you read it and enjoy it. I have it in audio form, and I have many copies of the book. So, yeah, paying it forward, baby. All right, everyone. Time to get back at it. And as always, let art and science inspire.